Okay, everybody, we are back. Last we left off, we had created this room, talked about um, clipping and cutting brushes, and then also just briefly talked about applying specific textures in a way to make them align or stretch to fit an object. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a second room, and we're going to create our first door. I'm going to show you guys how to make a functioning door to connect the two rooms. So first things first, let's go ahead and open up textures with T, the common, choose the caulk texture, and let's just quickly draw out a second room. Now, a cool little trick with Radiant, if let's say you want to create the exact same size wall that you have in a previous room into the next room, if you just shift left click and select a wall and then deselect it, the next time you draw the next brush, it'll actually take on the same size as that wall, as you can see, which is pretty neat. It just makes things quicker. So let's quickly build out another room, roughly the same size. Now you could select everything, copy it over, move it over, and do it that way. That works just the same. I'm gonna copy this wall, bring it over. Draw another wall. Select the floor of the other room, and then create a new floor here. Now, something that's important. Don't forget to check everywhere. I'm going to save real quick. Don't forget to check everywhere that there may be empty space, because this is the void. And you don't want the map to leak if you can avoid it. So I drew a little piece there. Great. We need a ceiling. I'm going to select the ceiling in the old room and then draw in a ceiling on the new one. There we go. So we have a new room. Now let's texture it. Control, Shift, left click, floor. We'll give it the same texture, which I think is military wall. Yeah, there it is. Same texture. Okay. Let's save this. Now I got another thing I'd like you to do. Let's make this wall thicker. This middle wall that the door will be housed. Let's turn it all into caulk. Come over here. Let's drag everything out by two spaces. As you can see, the middle of the doorway is thicker. That's perfect. Okay. Save. Let's retexture these, and it'll be the same texture in here. Remember, Control, Shift, left click, choosing the concrete CO6 texture. Hit Escape. All right. Let's not forget the ceiling. And let's give the inside of the door a texture. I'll probably just give it the same texture as the ceiling. You can choose whatever you'd like. One more thing. Let's shift left click the light, and let's hit spacebar to duplicate it and drag it over into the next room. Put it wherever you see fit. Doesn't really matter at this point. As long as it's in the center, you should be fine. Okay. Now, let's talk about doors. Actually, let's use our clipping knowledge to make this door look more interesting. So first things first, let's grab this player start function. Bring it to the front of the door again. Using this side view, you can really gauge how tall the player will be. So now he's sitting on the floor. in the center of the doorway. Realistically, if I were to draw a door for him to pass through, this right here, this size, might be just enough. We're going to find out. So, go back to the top-down view here. Let's make the door 1 unit wide. I'm putting it in the middle there, just to visually gauge, you know, how big of a door do we need. And you know what? I feel like what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make the gap a little bit bigger, and you'll see why. So grab each side, and I just want you to drag it 1 space for each side. 1 space out. 1 space, oops, 1 space up. Perfect. And then these will have to come up too. So 1 space up. Take a look at your floor. It's now got a space of void on each side. So drag that. Okay. I also just realized I need to fix my floor 2 spaces back. Grab this floor 2 spaces back. What else have I not fixed here? Oh, there's our overlap. I'm going to delete that roof or that ceiling. Like I'm overlapping here. This is my OCD, so I'm gonna bring these in. You don't have to do what I'm doing if you don't want to. But oops. Okay, we're gonna bring this one in too. This one in. Okay. Now technically this is up to preference. I will make these 2 walls even. Now, what I did, just to explain what I did here, it was kind of a mess here with my shapes, my brushes, and geometry. So I just cleaned it all up. As you can see now, everything's kind of meeting each other evenly, or fairly evenly. But anyways, okay. So what we've done is we've made this hole for the door bigger. Now let's go ahead and make some cool shapes for the door to sit inside. So delete the door for now. We're going to come to this side view. I like the idea of it being 2 by 2. Well, this will be, I guess, 3 by 2. Okay. Let's create a brush that is 2 wide this way. But if you look at the top down, 3 wide this way. So jutting out 2 spaces and over 3 spaces. So it's fitting this gap, or, you know, this side. What I'd like to do, using the top down, let's go ahead and start a cut. So press X on the keyboard, start your cut here, select here, enter. Start a cut here, end the cut there, hit enter, hit escape. So we've got this cool, it's like angled geometric shape. But as you notice, what's important is that right here, it's completely flat. So what I want to do is highlight this one, press spacebar, and we're going to drag it over to the other side. We're going to rotate this 1, 2 clicks. Make sure it's flush against the wall, so drag it back. Okay, and because we're lazy and we can do this, duplicate it again. We're going to flip it on the y-axis. Let's see. X-axis. And then rotate on the z-axis. It's been a while since I've done this. Yeah, and then rotate on the y-axis again. Okay, now we're going to bring it up. Make sure it's flush with the top of the doorway. And it's okay, actually, we want it to overlap these guys. Notice how they're intersecting each other. That's fine because it's going to give us the look that we're going for. So here's what we'll do. Now it's up to us what texture we want to put. So I'm just going to shift and click all of them, textures, and let's see what will work. What'll look good. I don't like that one. It's not bad. For now, I chose the ceiling texture. Okay, let's move our player out of the way. Since now I think this is a good door size. Here's what we're gonna do. In the top-down view, make sure that you're selected on Calc. We're gonna fill in a brush that fills this in. Don't overlap it, okay? Now that that's created, I want you to pull the door out because we want to texture it, and let's suspend it in the air, okay? I'm gonna show you a trick to speed things up, okay? We want all the sides or edges, like these guys, to be textured. So what you can do to be lazy, you can shift click the door, and let's go into the metal texture category. I'm gonna choose this blue metal. Doesn't really matter, choose whatever metal you want. It's gonna texture the whole thing metal, but I also textured, of course, every edge. So now I can just Control Shift left click each face, and we're gonna find a door texture we like. I'm gonna go to military door, and let's see. Let's go to doors, see what we got here. Not much. Okay. Military door, let's see if this door works. So I'm going to choose M door M08A. When you select it, as you can see, the texture is kind of off. So while the texture is still red, press the S key. And this is what I showed you earlier. We're just going to go ahead and hit the Fit button. Once you do that, you can hit Escape. Make sure you save. And now you can shift left click your door and drag it back into place. Look at that. We have a door. It is separating the two buildings. Of course, this door is not functional, though. You wouldn't be able to do anything to this door. So let me show you how this works. There are two ways to create a door. You can create a function door, which is just a sliding door. If you were to press use on it, it would slide in any direction that you have set for it. So left or right or down and up. Or you can change it to a function rotating door. So it'll rotate, of course, like a normal door in the world on a hinge. Now, I want to show you both. So if you hold Shift and left click the door, while it is highlighted, you can right click on the grid. And these are a bunch of options that we're not going to go into right now, but we're at least going to go to Func. And you'll see there's a function door and a function door rotating. If we choose function door, what the editor has done, hit escape, you will notice now that your door is blue. Because this has become an entity at this point. If you want to edit its properties, you have to select it and hit N. And now you are looking at the entity window. I've shown you this before. It's cool because you can still see an example window of all the things that you can tell the door to do. A door can have health if you want it to be destroyed. It can also deliver damage to a player if it's blocked. So you can make it kill the player. You can make it open at a certain speed, close at a certain speed. You can give it a sound. What sound do you want it to open with? Lots of things. You can also, of course, choose a model. If you have a 3D model that you want to import, it can be that as well. And for single player, you can set up keys, like if you need a key to unlock it. But that stuff I'm not privy to, so you can have it start open and stuff like that. For right now, what we want to do is we just want it to move. So that's right, angle. So right here, angle determines the opening direction. So let's try this out. Oh, and type. This is how you choose a sound. We're going to do those two things. So let's type angle in the key option here, and value. You could actually just click one of these directions. So let's do 90. And then it puts it in there for you. Let's look at type. Let's make this a metal door. So type 1 metal. So we're going to do type is the key value and number 1 is the value. Okay. Let's see what happens here. So hit escape, save, let's compile. So hit O for the console, BSP, the first option. Saying that our map is leaked. And this is a common... Oh. Never mind. It's because I forgot to put the ceiling back on. Perfect. Save, BSP, let's do O again. First option. It's done. BSP, we're going to do test. The first option for the word test. Okay, once that's done, we will go ahead and open up single player /dev map test. Let's take a look here. Aha. So, as you'll notice, this texture has an issue, which you will find quite a few textures that do stuff like that. So I will use a different texture, but ignore that for now. What we're going to do is test out the door. So you should see the hand icon at the bottom to indicate that you can press use. I'm going to press it. Look at that. The sound is working. And it's, depending on the angle you choose, you should see it going different directions. Okay, now real quick, let's say you wanted to make it go up and down. I quit the game. I'll show you how to do that. First, let's change the texture. Control, Shift, left click, both sides. Texture. Let's try this cool gate. Hit S. We're going to hit fit. Okay. And then that should fit the texture on both sides. We're going to save. Now, I noticed that our map was also a little too dark. Let's double these lights. I'm just going to bring this light over to the left a little bit. Hit space. Bring it a little bit closer to the door there. That's great. Go into the other room. Do the same thing. Bring this one over to the left. Hit space. Bring this one over. Boom. 4 lights total. Okay. Now, let's say we wanted to make the door go up and down. Hold Shift, left click the door, hit N for the entity editor. And one thing that's interesting is that if you want it to go up and down, it wouldn't be these numbers. Make sure you select where it says angle. You actually have to choose this option that's here. There's a bunch of buttons down here. You'll want to choose up. So you could type -1. Sometimes that can be confusing in your head, like, oh, which way's up, which way's down in 3D space. They made it easy by doing this. So it's going to go up. Hit escape, save, let's recompile. And I'm going to do the test again. That's done. Moment here. Okay. Reset my video so I can hear. Give myself cheats. Okay. It's a little bit brighter in here, which is good. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and hit enter. It goes up. You can walk into your other room. And, you know, you can admire your cool edges here that you've made. They're chamfered or they're shaved. They have an angle to them. I like it. It just gives your map a little bit more character. You can have fun as long as you like just messing with your door. And this is why it's important to texture all the edges. You know, that metal side right there. Let's see what happens if I sit on it. Oh, it by default hurts you by 2 HP. But there you have it. That's a working door. Let's go ahead and quit. And at the very end of this video now, let's see what else we can do to give you some more. Oh yeah, that's right. One more thing. We're going to learn how to make it a rotating door. Okay, hold shift and then left click the door. And I want you to then go to your grid, hover over the door, right click it. We're going to go to function door rotating. Sorry, there's a step that I missed. We're going to do that same action, but there's one thing that you need to know. We're going to hit the textures button. We're going to go to common. Now, common has a lot of textures that actually do something in the engine. For example, you'll see that there's a ladder texture. If you make a brush out of this texture, if the player in game touches that texture or comes close to it, they will be able to just climb up it. There's a slick, I think there is. Yeah, slick and slip. I'm sorry, meant to say. There's different directions as well, but there's slip texture. So if you apply a slip texture onto the surface of something, the character, it'll be slick in game as if it's on ice. So where I'm going with this is there is a texture for allowing objects to rotate on a hinge, and it's called origin right here. Select the origin texture, excuse me, and where you place it does matter. So depending on how you want it to rotate, for example, I want the hinge to be on this left side of the door, okay? So I'm going to zoom in on the door, and I'm going to create a brush, a new brush, that's just one unit. It's going to be the same thickness of the door. And you do want it, believe it or not, on the inside of the door. So if I were to select both of them, as you can see, it is on the inside of the door. You can see it up here on this left side. Okay. Now, if I were to just move my camera like this after deselecting, you can see that it's inside of it. Now, this can be frustrating. Like, how am I supposed to select that now? You know what you can do is you can align your camera so that you can kind of see the second object inside of it, and select them both. So hold shift, left click the door, and then left click that object. If you also just hold left click, let me hit escape and show you this. hold shift and hold left click and then move your mouse, and then let go, you can select them both that way. But make sure that you select your new brush and make sure that it is now an origin texture. See, it's not calc. It must be the origin texture. The whole thing must be that. Now, so you want to select them both, so hold shift, left click both of them. Now we're going to right click, function door rotating. Okay, and what that's doing to the game in the engine is it's telling the engine that this brush is going to rotate on this origin. And then if you press N, you can tell it which way to open. Obviously, same thing. You have all these things that you can choose. So all of our options are gone now. And if you remember, the angle, if I remember correctly, is based upon this top-down view. So that's 90 degrees. Let's see what happens if I say angle 90. And I still want it to be a metal door. So type 1, enter is metal. Okay, save. I do want to change the texture. Let's see if I'll just do this one. Okay, S, fit the texture, escape, save. We're gonna compile again. I'll make it quicker. I'll just do this single test here with light. Reset my graphics. There we go. Okay, let's try it out. Looks like it's working. Pretty cool, huh? All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.